Day 1 of Pro Tour Singapore is in the books, and if you missed anything from today's action, let's get you caught up. Last night, 377 players dropped into the arena to fight for gold, glory, and their portion of a massive prize pool in Pro Tour Singapore. This is the Day 1 breakdown, the metagame breakdown as you expected to see it, and as we've been talking for the past several weeks, Arachne slipped through the cracks, sitting there at the top. And right behind Arachne, I should say a good step behind, from 79 to 47 players respectively, is Gravy Bones. I expected less Gravy Bones than this, and I expected more Syndra than what we got. We got 46 Syndra players and a massive 26 Verdance players, with only 22 -IO. Those are the top 5 heroes represented in this metagame. Right behind those 5, we have Prism at 21, Kano at 15, Victor at 15, and 13 Acilio, and then a smattering of the rest of the field after that. And if you're curious as to what the standings look like after the Classic Constructed rounds, after 5 rounds of play, here is that data. That's right, if you've been following this channel for meta-analysis over the past few weeks, this should come as no surprise to you, as Arachne slipped through the cracks sits at the top of the heap with 21 players in that 5-0 or 4-1 bracket. That represents a 62% conversion rate from the beginning of the day to a 5-0 or 4-1 record. But right behind Arachne, Gravy Bones continues to prove that he can sail the uncharted waters of the high seas, because Gravy Bones has 11 players into that top cut, if you will, which technically represents a 63% conversion rate from the start of the day. Right behind him, though, continuing to prove that there are hostile waters he's going to have to navigate, Syndra, Drakai of Retribution, has 8 players in that top cut. Now, I keep saying top cut because I'm referring to the 5-0 and 4-1 records going into the last 3 rounds of Day 1. And keep in mind, the last 3 rounds of Day 1 are draft, and that is going to mix up the numbers a little bit. So here's what it looks like after we incorporate those 3 draft rounds. After a grueling 8 rounds of competition, Day 1 concludes with Yuki Lee Bender sitting at the top of the heap, right next to Justin Fryer, Tom Escoffier, Arthur Trehay, and the list goes on and on. Now, if you're curious as to where these Classic Constructed heroes fall, I can show you that as well. But I do want to point out that if we go all the way down the 8s, 7s, and 6s, there are some very recognizable names. Ben Dodd, you've got Brody Spurlock, Pablo Pintor, Chrissy Ali, and I do believe Chrissy Ali is on Riptide, if memory serves correct. At least he was recently over in the AGE. Michael Hamilton's down here at 6 wins on Gravy Bones as well. You've got Lucas Oswald. Names like Majin Bey, I know him. There's a lot of players in this top cut, particularly up here. You got Naib, you've got Tao Tao, you've got many named, high-named players. Nova Chan, Shurui Wu, if I said that correctly. Hooray me. If I did not, I apologize. Jimmy Nero Demirs, Alan Lau, all of these players, many of them well-known and high finishing. But if you're curious as to where their heroes are, let's look at that. Here's a graphic that I made just for you, and these are all the players that have either undefeated records or 1 loss on their resume after round 1. That includes both CC and it includes draft. Now, keep in mind, these players aren't necessarily some sort of a lock for a top 8. They still have an entire day to play tomorrow as well, and things are going to shift around. You have to expect that. But these are the Classic Constructed heroes that every player in that top cut of undefeated, in the case of Yuki Lee Bender, who's on Arachne slipped through the cracks, or 1 loss on their name currently, are playing. And that is correct. You're seeing it correct. Arachne slipped through the cracks has 5 players in that top cut. Gravy Bones has 2, Syndra has 2. Acilio snuck in and actually sitting in that 2nd seed currently. Ira Scarlet Revenger also in there. Prism Awakener of Soul, -IO, and an Arachne Marionette making its way into that 1 loss or undefeated record. And if you're curious exactly who is playing what player and you just want that information without having to go find it yourself, that's what I'm here for. I'm here for you, friend. Here it is. There it is. There you go. There's all the information based on placing at the end of round 1 for the top 14 players and the heroes that they're playing. Again, looking at it this way, you can definitely see Arachne quite dominant. Gravy Bones slipped in right there at the end at the bottom for his second copy. Syndra, a splashing, Dash.io, Prism, Ira, all there tucked into the middle, and a Cilio out of nowhere at the second place currently based on day 1 standings. And if you're looking for highlight plays from the stream and things you should go back and watch, don't worry, I got you. Because here is round number 1, Pablo Pintor versus Timothy Teo. It's only turn 6. And it's crazy to me that right now, 5 damage is being presented to Pablo Pintor, and he is sitting at 11, which means he can fully take this if he chooses to and go back to his turn with a full hand. Now, he's in a bit of a weird spot because he has 2 Swabbies in the graveyard that he can pull one of those out, but based on his hand composition, he might have to do a little bit of digging. Nevertheless, he could choose to block, he could choose to take this damage. He is going to take all of this 5 plus the flick from the flick knives, and he's going to try and pressure with his 4-card hand plus arsenal. And now, why is his hand a little bit awkward? Well, if we take a look at his hand, and hopefully they show it, he has an Eye of Ophidia, and I also believe he has the Riches of Trapaldani, is what was said by the commentators at the time. But he, in a moment, is going to pitch that Eye of Ophidia and go looking at the top of his deck. Now, the only way he can do that, outside of doing Compass, of course, is by using the Eye of Ophidia to break the gold. And that's exactly what he's going to do. He's going to pitch the Eye, cracking the gold, floating a resource, freezing on the stream, as you know it would, drawing 2 cards to opting those, and he has an option here. He finds a Tipple and he finds a Chart the High Seas. Looking at his hand, he does have a Sloop. It looks like he has another copy of Golden Tipple, and he's going to order those in such a way that he draws into the Chart the High Seas. He's then going to play that chart, which is going to find the Tipple, send it, and he hits off the top to get a gold. Chum was the unknown card there, and he knew that that Golden Tipple would be making its way into the graveyard. So he's going to end up swapping those around, yeah, because the chart will go into the graveyard and the Golden Tipple will be pitched. He has 4 resources to work with. That Chum does cost 4, but now he has a gold, which he could use to maybe crack again or do something with Gravy Bones. He looks at the top with Compass. He has Sloop. He's trying to make that Conqueror of the High Seas in his hand work for him, because Conqueror for 8 with Go Again into Sloop, if you have the resources for it, is quite powerful. Now, from a turn ago, we do know that his arsenal is a Rigor Mortis. It's not what you want in the arsenal. So it looks scarier than perhaps it could be from the side of Timothy, but keep in mind, Syndra can't really block that well unless you've sided in defense reactions and, Hunt the Hunted, which is a 3-block technically. Nevertheless, 8 Go Again is being presented, no resources floating, a gold available to Pablo Pintor, and the blocks being presented. This could conceivably blow up the arsenal, give him a gold token, and he could go digging for an even wider turn. It all depends on what Timothy chooses to block here. Now, sitting at 7, you're already being presented with casual lethal. 7, maybe you block Mask, maybe you block like 2 cards to try and cover this up. You can keep your arsenal, you can keep 2 cards in hand as long as they don't present 7 off of the rest of the converted cost, but Swabby's available. That's the danger, is that Swabby after this, if there are like 2 blues or a blue and yellow lurking in the hand of Pablo Pintor, Swabby is online and available. But the trick will of course be actually getting those resources from the side of Pablo Pintor. So he is going to block with Mask of Momentum, and he's going to give 3 2-blocks, it looks like. So very painful 2-block filled hand, has 1 card in hand, 1 card in arsenal, and that is when we're going to see the yellow be pitched to crack another gold, that Golden Tipple. So it doesn't look like it was the Riches of Trapaldani, but the pitch there, finding the blue, this means that Sloop now attacks for 4. He has a resource floating, and if he has a Rigor Mortis in the graveyard, it does appear that is indeed a Rigor Mortis right there. He can send the Rigor Mortis after playing it because Dead Threads, I believe, is active thanks to Chum going to the bin this turn. So this represents another 10 damage after this, and really there's not much that Tim can do after this. I think he's counting it up exactly right now. He knows it. He knows if that's a 3-block, so be it, but you're going to be taking a lot of damage. He takes the excess damage. The rigger comes across. That flick knives can only really block just a portion, and that's the game. So Pablo Pintor takes down a very tough matchup into Syndra, and apparently Pablo and the people he's been working with, his team, Sunflower Samurai, have been working tirelessly on exactly that matchup, and it looks like it paid off very well for him. And of course, we're not done there, because I'm going to bring you this one. This is round number 4. Alan Lau sitting at 33 life on Dash.io versus Jian Wei Ti. I don't think that's right, but I did my best. Forgive me if I did it wrong. Nevertheless, responding at 5 life to the creation of several resources, most likely, with a pitch of an Eye of Ophidia activating Kano. This is going to be a big moment, because at this point, Alan Lau can just close the game out if we don't find the combo. But there's a reason I brought you this highlight. We're going to see the signed Majin Bei Kano going to represent the Kano activation on the stack, of course, resolving the Eye of Ophidia first. And as we see, as some Kano math is done, we'll skip forward a little bit with several of those action points and seeing that there's some shots available on the gun. Finally, the decision to bottom there and continue the turn. This is going to respond to this Kano, apparently, with what looks like a Kindle in hand. And that Kindle is going to be the response to the topping there of the Kano. So we have a Kano on the stack. We have a Kindle. We have a second Kano on the stack. This is textbook Kano play. You want that Kindle to be sandwiched in between so you can get the emphasis. Oh, that is signed by Peter Bedinsek. So all of the Wizard Alliance represented here on the table, which is pretty fun. Gonna draw and then find it and then top. And then that's going to resolve this Kano. It's going to end up being a Lesson in Lava, a very powerful card that you want, and you usually fit together in the overall main combo line for Kano with Wildfire, Lessons into Blazing. Here the Storm Striders are activated. We do have an energy potion on the board, so we can go a little bit wider depending on Metacarpus triggers. The Kindle's going to draw a card. Hopefully draws a blue, most likely draws a blue if you've done this and you've counted your overall blue count correctly. Does indeed draw blue. We have the Storm Striders activated, so that most likely is a Wildfire in Arsenal, meaning that we are going to have Wildfire here represented for at least 5 with Kindle. He has 2 resources floating, 2 on the energy potion, and 3 in hand, giving him the ability to Kano again on this turn. He could also Crucible. That would be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 resources totals. Thinking about the Crucible right now, if you Crucible right now, you have spent 6 of your total of 7 resources available to you. Also, do keep in mind you have Old Knocker now, which is such an underrated card, been included in the High Seas set. Everyone can play it and get a resource, and you're not really hurt by tapping your hero. He is going to Crucible here. That Crucible is going to come across the pitch there for the second Kano. He has the resources for it. He has 1 floating. He's going to crack here to gain another resource on the Old Knocker, so he's going to tap his hero. Means nothing for Kano. No one even cares. And he's going to play the Aether Wildfire. Keep in mind, he does have 2 resources still on the board in the form of Energy Potion, which means he can actually do some pretty tricky stuff here. This Wildfire needs to be dealt with, but only AB1 on the side of Alan Lau. Enough space created. This is turn 2. Enough space created to find any piece of this combo, and that's what was found. Aether Wildfire in the arsenal means that we can go crazy. Now, I think Lessons was either in hand or found directly off the top of the deck, but Ragamuffin's hat came in pretty clutch to put it there if it was in the hand. He has access to a double Lesson turn with the resources available to him because he still has 2 resources and he's already paid for both Kanos. The Wildfire comes across for 5 as it does with AB1. 5 is going to buff that Lesson there. He's going to crack the energy potion with the 2 resources. Lesson comes across. Lesson is 3 plus 5, a total of 8 resources. Not even going to use the Metacarpus node, but it's going to kind of come across for 8. There's really nothing Alan Lau can do about it. It's going to be bumped down to 7 total damage. And he's going to go and fetch, not because he has 2 Kano activations, keep in mind. So he can go and fetch another copy of Lesson in Lava. The Kano will resolve to pull that off the top of the deck, and that's exactly what we're going to see here after shuffling. That's going to come across for a measly 8 again. 5 plus 3 is 8. It's going to be stopped for 7, but then that will go and fetch the Blazing Aether. Someone count this damage up. Someone do it. Count up how much damage this is, because that Lesson in Lava goes and gets Blazing. Blazing comes across for a metric ton of damage. If we're counting this, 5 plus 7 plus 7 plus that plus 5. It's a lot of damage. Either way, what it spells is a win for Kano. Pro Tour Singapore Day 1 is in the books, and it is shaping up to be a gem of a weekend. I can't wait to see what happens on Day 2, and I want to see if some of these heroes that are lurking at the bottom of that 6-win bracket start to make their way up, because we could see some really interesting upsets. If you enjoy this type of video and you want to see me recap tomorrow's action as well, leave a comment down below and make the number go to the other number. As always, everybody, thanks for watching.